Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Panache and I'm really happy to have you here. If it is your first time here, baby, welcome to the party. Welcome to the Liddy committee where we talk about everything and anything. And yeah, Soup's happy to have you. And if you are a repeat offender, I love you and I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking with me, even through my little accent changes and animated character. Yeah, appreciate you guys. And also, let's just address the situation, and not this situation, but the new situation. So decided to change up my scenery a little bit, just see how this would work, see what you guys think. So yeah, let me know. Like, I'm gonna just test out like different backgrounds and stuff. Just, try and see what happens. It's even making me feel like I should have a painting or something right here, because the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh child, it's giving plain Jane. I mean, I'm all for the minimalistic vibe, but from what you see right now, it's not encouraging. I mean, at least you can figure out that my favorite color is pink, in case you missed it. And obviously, H2O, it's only right. Yeah. So today, let's jump straight in. I want to talk about quite a few things. I want to talk today about love, relationships, toxic relationships, and self-worth. That is what I want to talk about. Just address it and just address some of these faux pas that we have now started normalizing. I really hope I've used that word correctly. But yeah, these things within culture sometimes that we've now started to normalize and act like it's okay, and it's not okay. And also, just to clarify, this isn't advice just for the girlies. This is also for the guys. Everybody is amazing, males and females, and everyone should have a form of self-worth. So it's not, I don't believe that it should just be women that are like, yes, I know my worth. Like, I think guys should also know their worth. Like, remember guys, you are kings, okay? You are kings. Don't ever forget that. And to all my ladies, you are queens, y'all. Queens, queens, queens. So let's jump straight in. Yeah, let's talk about this, because I think one thing that I think has been normalized is the concept of like toxic relationships. And I feel like they're so over glamorized, these relationships where people make up and break up, the constant arguments, the mind games, the lying, the manipulating, just so much. And people are like, oh, we're just trying to keep it spicy, like it keeps it alive. Like, and I'm just thinking, listen guys, this is not what love is. There's someone that asked me a question. Actually, someone posed a question to me on TikTok live, and they were just asking about a situation where they were just saying like there was a guy who they were involved with and this person had now blocked them, etc. And they were now trying to reach out to the guy, and he's like blocked the girl, but she was just trying to explain herself or something. I'm not really sure the context of what had happened or whatever the situation. I don't know who was right or wrong or whatever, but all I knew was there's a guy and a girl. The guy has blocked the girl's trying to explain herself to the guy because she cares for him. And I'm assuming she wanted to rekindle the situation. And I just kind of said to her, I was like, listen, you have to really know your worth, because once you know your worth, you won't put up with certain things. Like, you should never have to chase somebody to that point. Like, if somebody has blocked you, sometimes you have to take that step back and be like, all due respect, this person's clearly trying to protect themselves. If they're trying to protect themselves from my energy and whatever it is that I've released and put on them, I have to just respect that and keep it stepping. If it's someone that's just blocking me for the vibe and for the toxicity, and you can't be playing those games. Like, you need to know how precious and cherished that you are. Like, literally, God sent his one and only son to die on the cross for you. And if God loves you that much, why waste your energy on somebody who can just treat you like, today I'm gonna pick you up and then I'm gonna put you down. I'm gonna pick you up and put you down. And they're just sort of treating your heart willy-nilly. It's such a dangerous game. And I think as well, like, there's so much toxicity because we live in a generation where love is sort of like, it's seen as like this, what's the word I could use? Like, you know, when they describe guys as like neaky, or that's like a UK slang, or what's the other word? Simp. When somebody's like a simp, a guy that loves his woman correctly is now labeled a simp. Why? So someone has bought their partner flowers and that makes them a simp. Someone has, you know, that goes all out for their girlfriend, or, you know, just does all these things and they're labeled a simp. Or a girl that's like doing a lot for her partner, you know, she's, you know, just like showering him with love and she's cooking for him and da-da-da-da. You know, girls sometimes like they'll be posting as well on socials like, oh, what I did for my man, my man, my man, and oh, she's a pick me, or she's a, and it's like, why are we like this? Why have we made it such a bad thing to have pure and genuine love? Not love where we're fighting and then making up, just love where it's just good and we're Gucci. That's my bestie, that's my homie, that's my best friend, that's my man, that's my girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is that such a negative thing? Why is healthy relationships so negative? It's actually scary. Like, I truly believe a lot of people have a whole bunch of unresolved trauma. Like a whole bunch of unresolved trauma, which is why a lot of people then attach themselves to dysfunctional settings. You know, I know some people that have even said that they actually struggle with self-sabotage when they get themselves a good person. Like, you know, a girl that gets a good guy, but maybe she grew up in a single parent household, dad was never there. So the girl is used to dysfunctional male figures that aren't always present, male figures that aren't consistent. So now when you bring in a guy who is consistent and he is there and he does care, it can like confuse the girl child. It can confuse somebody. Now they don't know what to do with themselves. Now they have to just, they end up self-sabotaging because they just don't know how to navigate this situation. They don't know how to feel safe around the guy. So now that's when girls will start potentially accusing of cheating where there's no cheating, or like lack of trust, and searching through phones and raising voice, and or even just the girl herself becoming toxic and acting weird and moving distant and doing these things because she feels rattled by the security and comfort that you're bringing her. This is where now it comes in, where I always say to males and to guys, like, cherish yourself and understand your worth. Like, if you're coming to bring good, healthy love to someone that is broken and dysfunctional, it can honestly end up breaking you, hurting you, and affecting you. And then now we get this ugly cycle where the girl messes up a good guy. The good guy is now heartbroken. He's now like, oh, women are trash. Now he goes off and he then starts affecting other females, creating this chain of other negative females that have been hurt, because now he's like, you know, screw women, I'm gonna do what I want. And then all these women are now like, oh my gosh, I was played by this guy, and now all men are trash, I'm gonna just use them. And it's just this ugly cycle, and it brings us where we are today. And then sometimes the cycle sort of like crosses over and you get the toxic guy meets the toxic girl, and it's just like a hurricane, you know. It's not healthy. It's not good. A lot of us are broken. A lot of us are broken. And a lot of women as well. So I've just spoken on the example of men. A lot of women, a lot of girls will love the bad boy. They'll love the broken guy, the jaded guy that doesn't talk to anybody, and, you know, like, he's got his boys, and when it comes to females, he hasn't got feelings and emotions. And it's like savior complex comes in, where, you know, females want to like help him and nurture him and bring him to being like boyfriend material and creating a husband and whatever the situation may be. And it's just like, you're dealing with a very broken man. Some guys have trauma as well from their mothers. You know, one thing I had never thought about, obviously I'm black. I'm black Zimbabwean, right? But British born. And I have friends that were saying to me, and I had never thought of this concept before. They were saying how some guys have trauma towards their mothers and struggle trusting women, specifically, and sometimes especially black women, because of situations where, you know, growing up back home, whether it's Zimbabwe, Nigeria, wherever you are in Africa, for this is specifically speaking on black guys. I'm sure some other cultures as well have gone through this, but this is just an example. There were some black guys that were saying that, you know, in those moments where their parents, when their mothers first came to the UK, you know, to like set foundations and whatever else, it was sometimes a situation where the mothers would fly out, maybe the father's not in the picture, whatever it may be, the mother has flown out and the child has been left with the grandmother or left with an auntie. A lot of guys, because of the age they were at, they felt abandoned and were now dealing with abandonment issues. They felt like their mother had just abandoned them, neglected them, and left them. Because majority of the time as well, within African culture, there's certain things where parents don't fully communicate to the children. The older generation of parents didn't really communicate everything because it's like, oh, you're just a kid, like you're a child. I don't need to explain myself to you. But then the after effects of that, and that was such like a mind-blowing thing for me, because I was like, I would have never thought that. Like, it just, yeah. So for me, that was like something that was really mind-blowing. So if you take a guy like that, or a guy that has been let down by his mother in other ways, maybe she left and then he was raised by his father, or his mother was there and she wasn't the greatest role model and he saw her, you know, different partners every other day, or whatever the situation may be. If you're someone and you're a female and you're coming with a healthy form of love to a broken man, baby girl, get the heck out of there. Save yourself. Because what happens is you are pouring into a bucket with holes. And these holes are the trauma. So the trauma causes holes in the bucket. This is like an illustration, right? And it's like the water's leaking out. You're pouring in love. The love leaks out and you're still dealing with the same empty bucket or the half full bucket. I'm not saying that people with trauma and people with certain childhood experiences can never love. That's not what I'm saying. Well, what I'm saying is, unless someone is on that journey, desiring to change, they're going to therapy, or you have your relationship with God, you're growing your relationship with God, you're seeking Jesus, because a lot of people have some deep wounds, like into the soul type wounds. And yeah, those soul wounds, you kind of need Jesus to just heal a lot of that, because people have gone through it, and we end up having so many women, so many guys damaged because of trying to love people that are damaged and not trying to get better. I truly believe that we need like a refresh on what relationships are, what love is. I feel like we need to rebrand love. Like, love is seen as this cheesy, corny thing that like, you know, people want toxicity. And it's so crazy to me because I'm like, toxicity is cute maybe for like a minute. It's not even cute, but for those that say it's cute for a minute. Let's say you're now in a relationship with this toxic guy. Now you have children with this toxic guy. He's not present. Every time you guys argue, he leaves. First of all, even just the arguing part. You're now arguing in front of the children. You're now normalizing a trait that, like, you shouldn't be raising voices and, you know, responding to one another in such a manner. Now your child normalizes that. Now they're growing up toxic. They're used to seeing this. That's how they now navigate through relationships. And vice versa. A guy that chooses to hold on to a toxic female, you have to pride yourself as a man and be able to walk away when a woman cannot respect you. Biblically, men have been described as the head and women are the neck. Women are the helpmates. In a situation sometimes where you're dealing with a toxic woman, she becomes the head. And you're the one trying to help her, and she's the one that's running things. She's the one that dictates what happens. She's, you know, it's not healthy. It's not good. Even women that have grown up in single mother households and have that whole, I don't need a man. Men ain't this, men ain't that, men are trash. I can do all good by myself. I can do good by myself. That mentality is so unhealthy, so ungodly, and it's so crazy to me. And it's like, again, that's cute for a minute, but let's keep it a buck. If you are 9 months pregnant and find yourself in a situation where someone like breaks in your house or someone tries to attack you, the man can protect you in that moment. You can barely run. You are 9 months pregnant. Like, you are so vulnerable in that. Like, you need men in those seasons, in that moment. There's certain things where it's like, even when we talk about the blessing and covering that comes from a man is known as the priest of the household. He's the, you know, like the main covering. So when you remove that and you come and you try to now place yourself in that position, you have just turned everything upside down. Now turned upside down. I could take a minute to sit right there. But yeah, like, all of this dysfunctional stuff we now have, this unhealthy mindset, men are trash, women are trash, all of this, and then people still want to date each other, see each other, be with each other, even normalizing of situationships, talking about, I don't even want a relationship, I don't want commitments. Baby, So why are you giving your energy to somebody like that? Situationship. This is someone now that you're calling, texting, in some cases being with intimately, whatever the situation may be, however you're choosing to navigate your situationship, some way, somehow you are pouring out into that person time, money, and that's for guys as well. You are pouring out into that person somehow. Why? If you have no desire for this to be an elongated thing, what's the point? Like, why not invest in yourself during that period until you find that person where you're like, okay, cool, this is someone that's worth committing to, and there's so much beauty in partnership. There is so much beauty in partnership, so much beauty in togetherness. Like, and it says, it's not good for man to be alone. There's a Bible verse that says it's not good for man to be alone, because if he's to fall, who's to pick him back up? If he's to, there's all these things. And then people say, yeah, but you can do that with friendships. True, you can. But right now we're talking about relationships, like romantic, like I love you, you love me, mwah, romantic. Romantic relationships are so important, because even as we get older, right now we're all young, so it's easy to be like, when you're in your 80s, by God's grace, when you're in your 40s and 50s and people are married and they're with their own families and doing this and that, are you going to be that one friend that's constantly calling like, oh, yeah, and they have to tell you, oh, sorry, I'm with the family. Sorry, I've got the kids this weekend. And you're just that one friend. Even, I remember at one point we were glamorizing the concept of the rich auntie. I don't mind rich auntie that's married, but it was like the rich single auntie that's just got money and no kids and da-da-da. That whole thing, I was like, guys, this needs to die like yesterday. This is the worst trend ever. But again, to each their own. If you never want to get married and you don't want to have kids and you want to be by yourself forever, do you? But again, I'm addressing all those that are into relationships and trying to like connect with people, etc. Don't go running towards toxicity. Let me even quickly explain to you guys what love is. Yeah, when sometimes people will be like, oh, they're toxic but they love me. So love is patient. I know a lot of us will be familiar with this. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So that's from 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 to 7, or bit of 8. And here, like, this is just a biblical definition of love. But even if you're saying, oh, but I'm not Christian, like, that's fine. But still, like, all these things count, right? Because every time you've gone to weddings, this is what they read. Majority of the time, this is what they read. Is from the Bible. And it talks about being patient with one another. It talks about keeping no record of wrongs, being forgiving. It talks about not being easily angered. Obviously, the Bible's realistic. Like, God knows we are human beings. We are flesh, right? So you can be annoyed. You can get irritated. But it's about not being easily angered. You shouldn't just be snapping. And even there's another verse that says, do not let the sun go down on your wrath, for you will give the devil a foothold. So even when you are in your relationships, when you have these disagreements, when you have these arguments, it's about trying to resolve it and find peace and not letting a whole day pass and you're both just holding on to your anger. Everybody's in their pride. It even says that love is not proud. So when we have this definition of love and how it's broken down, sometimes I think we need to assess our relationships. If someone is telling you they love you, but they're doing everything opposite to this, is that then love? Or is it like a distorted, manipulated, inaccurate representation of love? A counterfeit, copy situation. Like, a lot of people, I think, don't actually really know what love is and then thus behave however, just do whatever. I want to, this one's gone on a bit longer, and if it's a topic that I see is quite hot and people enjoy it, I'll kind of continue on it later. But I would really love to leave you with this. An analogy or a quote I always say is, someone's inability to know your worth doesn't decrease your value. Okay? So someone's inability to know your worth does not decrease your value. Just because you are with somebody and they treat you like trash or have treated you historically like trash does not now mean that you are trash. For example, I have a little cousin. He's 7 now. My little cousin loves football. Like, typical boy, loves football, playing with his friends. Like, very simple. If I came to him and I gave him a Chanel purse, a Chanel handbag, right? And let's say the Chanel handbag is worth 25K, £25,000 handbag. And I give it to him and I'm like, oh, look. Honestly, for him, he's going to be like, oh, okay. And just sort of like put it to the side and continue to play football and do whatever it is that he's doing. Why? Because he doesn't understand that this is Chanel. He doesn't understand that this is £25,000 worth. Why? Because he doesn't care for it. What is he going to do with this Chanel handbag? Absolutely nothing. So he's like, okay, cool. Thank you for showing me this bag. But now back to what's important to me. And to him, he puts more value into his football than he does into this £25,000 handbag, right? The fact that he decided to just throw the handbag to the side does not take away the fact that that handbag costs £25,000. It doesn't. So I say this to say, if you've ever been in a relationship where somebody has cheated on you, or somebody was, you were in a toxic relationship, or you were with a someone who was always gaslighting you, you were with a narcissist, you were with someone that constantly made you feel less than, remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself who you are, and remember that God literally sent his son to die for you. And anyone that wants to treat you any less than, respectfully, throw them to the side and keep it pushing. The person that appreciates you, cherishes you, and loves you for you will come. So yeah, have some standards that you have set, and you know that this is what I'm expecting. This is how I wish to be loved. This is what I look for in a relationship. And the only way you are going to find these things out is by making that time to embrace your singleness and understand and study what you actually enjoy outside of another person's influence. What do you like? What music do you like? What type of restaurants do you like? What do you do for fun? Are you outdoorsy? Do you prefer restaurants, museums? What is the situation? Once you know yourself, it's easier for you to know what you're looking for and what you're looking for in that person. Sometimes it's two people that they don't know themselves, they don't know each other, and they're just trying to make something work. They're not really sure what it is. Then they look to, society and social media and whatever else, and then toxicity comes and it's chaotic. But yes, I have gone on and on and on. This even cut out and I came back, and hopefully I've made it smooth. If I have, then you only know because I'm saying it now. If I haven't, then you'll know because you'll have seen like a little moment. But yes, this has been amazing. I hope you have an amazing day, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. And we will catch up soon. If you loved this topic, we will stay right here and talk more and dig deeper. Bye.